There's a time and a place to eat every one of these types of diets. When we were in Arizona, and especially after being super meat heavy, a high fruit-based diet brought on a lot of healing discharges. We may have not looked at that in the appropriate way at the time. We might have failed to see that what we were experiencing, instead of considering them as negative symptoms or a negative sign that we were eating the wrong foods, it was just eliciting a discharge. So because we went from a history of eating a certain way and then switched it completely, it really accelerated that discharge. Fruits and a lot of raw vegetables are very cooling and dispersing, and not everybody's going to benefit from just eating those types of foods all the time. Some people might have a limit as to how well they do with a certain amount of fruit. Some people thrive eating a high fruit and sugar diet, and then perhaps having a cooked meal later that has more of the protein and carbohydrate. It depends on the person, how old you are, how active you are, what your diet history has been, and the climate for which you live. So if you're watching a young guy who's living in Texas, Aaronabke, for example, who's eating or has been eating, maybe he's changed, mostly fruit-based until his last meal. I believe that's what he was doing. He may have revised it. And he's working out quite a bit, and he's also taking some supplements, James Organic Muscle supplements. He seems to be thriving eating that way, and he's living in Texas. Well, we thrived more eating that way or something similar when we lived in Arizona, and I was also a decade younger than I am now. So you got to know. What I most want to teach people is how to see things more clearly past the surface, to have greater discernment, and to look at the fruits. We cannot always just turn on a video and look at someone and say, well, they look really young or they look really old, because we got to have a comparison. You need the long view for that, macrobiotic view. But I've seen people who eat a high raw diet that many people might consider look very good for their age, and in fact perhaps they do. But when I watch them just doing a video, one woman in particular, I just saw do a video of her day of meals. I was thinking, this woman's all over the map, and her energy to me is not grounded. And that is because there's a lot fewer carbohydrates in her diet. It's mostly just quinoa. A lot of people are afraid to eat whole wheat and a lot of whole grains, and I find that the right balance is what's best, because they are so grounding and calming that a diet without grains is like a diet without sunshine, in my opinion.